with my hands for this. I would like to first tell you, first the time frame. I'm just going to speak for 15 minutes, not longer. So I will not waste too much of your time. I want to explain you what is Workero. Workero is my third company. It's a startup. Right now it's becoming a scale-up because we are launching in a lot of countries and we are active also specifically in Spain. So what is Workero? Well, first of all, we are in the business of organizing co-working within company walls. So who knows co-working here? Who has heard about co-working? You heard about it? Okay, fine. All right, very good. So co-working is really a trend in real estate where you go from the traditional real estate to an innovative way of bringing startups into buildings and also for big corporates to organize the way that they work. So it's a complete disruption, can we say, of the market. Right now, state of the market global, we have 35,000 co-workings worldwide. The market is growing at 13% year on year. You will see it also in Spain because we have a lot of co-workings in Spain, but especially Valencia, Barcelona, Madrid, Malaga also, Bilbao. It's a 26 billion market value and the number of locations is going up by more than 200% every year. So a lot of the amount, 40% comes from corporates, the big companies. It's not only the startups, but also the big companies. And it represents about, right now, in 2018, 66% of the new leases or the new spaces, which is incredible because it means that right now, real estate in a traditional way, in the office space, is really being disrupted. At the same time, there's only 88% of the co-workings are profitable. So what does it mean? It means that all of these, they exist just because they get funding from the government, from cities, etc. It's a very dangerous situation because when the financial crisis would hit, then all of these co-workings will have big difficulties because cities and governments will say, okay, we need to lower the budget, so I cannot give you any more the budget for a real estate. So that's the market that we are in. So why am I telling this? Is because the future workspace, it will need to hyper-connected, it will need to deliver an experience, install a cultural identity, and it needs to be collaborative, hence the phenomenon of co-working. So what did we do with my company? Well, what we do is organizing co-working. We do it also in Belgium. In this building, I have 5,000 square meters of co-working, and I have a lot of these buildings in Belgium. But we are starting to do this also in a lot of other countries. We don't do it ourselves, but we help other people to do it. So Workero is a digital platform, and it organizes co-working within company walls. We have received the Seal of Excellence of Horizon 2020 program of the European Commission, and if I find the time, I will prepare to submit for the second phase for another round of funding. But it's really, at this moment, it's very difficult for us. I will explain a testimonial in the last 4 minutes of my speech. So what we do is, first of all, on the left, we help companies to monetize on underused office space. You need to know that all the big companies all over the world, they have too much office space. So what are they doing with it? A lot of them are doing nothing with it. We help them to bring smaller companies into their own building. Let me give you a very good example. Who knows Procter & Gamble? You all know Procter & Gamble, soap, all right. So we are opening a very large co-working space within the building of Procter & Gamble, headquarters here in Belgium. It's 2,000 square meters, and the building is 30,000 square meters. And they have a lot of space that they do not use, right? So we help them to get new small tenants into their offices. And the second thing that we do for them is initiate innovation and co-creation. And that's important for the subject of today, which is, again, about Procter & Gamble. They make soap. They don't make the packaging. They always look for new packaging for their soap, and they cannot make it themselves. And they try to innovate, and they don't find enough innovation. So what we do with Workero is we link all of the startups that are active throughout Europe, who could be interesting to Procter & Gamble. We link them to Procter & Gamble, and we offer them to start working in the incubator of Procter & Gamble, which is basically, in this case, the first one that Procter & Gamble does. So we signed the contracts for here in Belgium, and next year we will be opening those co-workings within Procter & Gamble all over the world. So what we are installing is a network of co-workings within companies. We started to deliver it 6 months ago. We have already 38 locations in Belgium. We will be 80 at the end of the month, and we will be 200 by the end of next year. And we're opening now in Spain, in Italy, in Australia, in France, in Germany, and in the Netherlands, right? So I'm going to go quick for some slides. What is the attraction for real estate owners, so the corporate suppliers? Well, they make money on underused space. They are associated with innovation. They attract a lot of new talent and new people that come in, so they create jobs at the same time, that come in and help them to innovate. And for the users, which like the working people, and because Workero comes from working hero, for the heroes, it means that they can work wherever they want. They can work at very big companies. They can start their own company, and they can be helped by those big companies. For example, if you have a startup, and I hope really that young people that I see here, that they start innovating and creating their own companies. When you go into one of these co-workings that we organize, Procter & Gamble, Ernst & Young, we do it too. When you go there, well, you can have an office there or an open desk. You can work there. You pick up the phone and you call someone from Ernst & Young and you say, I have a problem with my marketing. I have a problem with legal. I have a problem with accounting. And you're in their building. So 5 minutes later, they are with you and they can help you to give advice. That's really the core of what we facilitate and what we do. And as a side product, of course, because everyone can work everywhere, we have a big contribution towards mobility. Because if you can work in Belgium in 200 places all over Belgium, and in Spain I want to have more than 1,000 spaces everywhere, well, basically you don't need to make the 100 or the 50 kilometers every day to go to your work, because you can work in a professional environment at 5 kilometers from where you live, and you're not obliged to work from home. So the software that we built, I invested up until now about 3 million euros. So we started small, and then we grew and we grew and we grew. So it's important that, and we get to that later, that you get the necessary funding for that, and not only from the European Commission, but also from other investors. So it's a closed membership that we organize, and before you can enter in this software, I need to have your passport, credit card. I need to know who you are, because otherwise I do not send you to Procter & Gamble, which is obvious, or other big companies. So the software is giving you all the locations where you can work at any time, in any place. It's connected with Google Studio, traffic management system. So if I drive from Paris to Madrid, it will show all the Workero locations, and it will tell you stop here because there's a traffic jam between the border and Barcelona, for example. Stop here and you can work at these places. Now, how does it look like? These are these co-workings. And each one of them is installed in this brand. So we establish a brand throughout Europe in all these locations within these companies. If you want to, you can go up to the 6th floor here. There you can see how it looks like. So there's a very, very big financial reporting in it, and what the system does. On top of that is connecting people, because I told you that real estate in the future needs to be connected. Well, what we do, as soon as you are a member, and anyone can join, because the membership is free. You only start paying when you rent out, or if we do something for you that you can start innovating with a big company. You fill out your profile, and there's a matching algorithm that will tell you you should meet this person, right? That you are active in accounting, and that someone else is active in auditing, for example. Would be nice to meet. So the algorithm works on your skills, on your interests, and on the location where you like to work. Yeah? The largest part of the software is again related to the subject of innovation. What we do is data mining. It's artificial intelligence. What we do is we link a Spanish startup to a big company in Holland, for example, which at first sight they don't have anything to do with each other. But from the data that we have, we see that solutions provided by the Spanish startup can help this big Holland company, Dutch company, to grow. And that's basically what we do. It's in development still, because we still need to do a lot of things. But that's what you do, the enrichment of data, and then through a predefined algorithm and coming to a predictive modeling, where we can help all the startups and scale-ups throughout Europe to better collaborate with large corporates. And we skip that one. This is how it looks like. What are we doing? Growth. These are the countries that we will be going into in the next 4 years. This is the locations. You see that it's exploding in the next 4 years. And we started, as I said, with 5 locations 6 months ago. What's my personal testimonial for as an entrepreneur, and especially for Horizon 2020 program? First of all, there's not only the Horizon 2020, because everyone is talking about it, but there are a lot of other programs, of course, which can help us. First of all, it's highly competitive. So you need to be very critical of your own, and because if you want to ask money and subsidies from the European Commission, you need to show that you don't just have an idea. No, you have something that has been validated, and it must work. It must be demonstrated. You need to have other people validate what you are proposing to start to do. It can still be that you don't have any revenue, so it can still be in the phase of concept, but it should be ready to roll out. And if you then start writing the proposal, I did this with the help of Finnova, of course, because they advise the startups in it. Then you need to do a very detailed preparation, involve external people, write it again, and again, and again. So when I submitted, I was very lucky, because I submitted and I was accepted from the first time. And on average, it takes 4 times before you get accepted. Sometimes it's 6%, but sometimes it's only 3% that is accepted of all the people submitting, right? Third thing, if you get accepted, it's a really good card toward investors. Why? Because you receive the Seal of Excellence from the European Commission. And you can say, I received some money. It can be 50,000 or it could be 500,000. It doesn't matter at that moment. It's just the fact that you have this Seal of Excellence. It's a worldwide recognition of quality. Right now, I say worldwide, but right now it's more in Europe than, for example, in the States, because in the States they all think that we are much bigger and much better than we are, which is the reason why I will do a second presentation later. But what is important, with the Seal of Excellence comes also what we call the phase 3, because we have 3 phases in this program of the Horizon 2020. The first phase is you submit and you can get up to 50,000 euros. The second phase, you submit and you can get up to 2.5 million euros. So it gets more difficult in the second phase, of course, because otherwise they would be giving a lot of money away to a lot of people. Strange thing, the phase 3 starts at the end of phase 1. And no, in numbers it's not logical, but in the way it's done, yes, it's logical. Because as soon as you get accepted, you can ask support in the Horizon 2020 program. What does it mean? For example, as soon as I got phase 1, I had a coach. He did 5 sessions with me, and it was to prepare for a later proposal in the second phase. So, and this coach, you don't need to pay it yourself. So it was paid under the Horizon 2020 program. So I got 50,000 euros, and I got the coach on top of that. And we cannot forget the other resources, because you get invited to events of the European Innovation Council, to Startup Europe Summit. We went there together. To VCs, investors, but also to, for example, the other programs. I have a very nice example for Spain. We were also in the program of the Erasmus Entrepreneur. Is someone in that program here? You are? Yeah? Good. You are in the Erasmus Entrepreneurship Program? No, not yourself, okay. Is someone here in that program? No, okay. You should be. Because we count on you, Susanna counts on you, to create companies so you can create jobs. So
I have the question. Who would like to become an entrepreneur in the
that's
future?
a good question, that's right.
Before.
That's right. I'm asking who wants to become an entrepreneur?
No
Here
one.
in this. Yeah.
2, 3, 4.
Nice. I'm very pleased to see that. So, what is this Erasmus entrepreneurship thing? Well, you get to spend between 2 and 6 months in a company as a new young person getting out of university, for example, high school. And I had such a person with me because I'm an old guy, obviously, and it's not my first business. So this person, Spanish person, Leire Palacios, she came to me with Erasmus Entrepreneurship. She did a lot of things in our startup, Workero. And in the end, I hired her. So she works now for me.
She was before in Finnova.
She was with you before, yes.
Before.
She was in Finnova, then she went into the Erasmus Entrepreneurship. She applied, I accepted her, and after 6 months, when it was finished, I hired her, and she works for me, okay? So, last thing I'm going to say is that 57% of the funded companies have less than 10 employees. It's incredible. So don't think that the budgets of the European Commission are there only for the big companies, because it's not the case. And this proves it. It's very important to understand how this works. So this is a bit my personal testimonial about what we did specifically with Workero, and it's still ongoing, of course, because at the same time I joined forces with Finnova, and I did something else with Professor Rota and his team. I will explain that at 11 o'clock. But anyway, feel free to ask questions if you have any.
Questions?
Yes?
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I would be interested more in the funding side. Besides the European funding, besides the 50,000, what kind of funding did you attract?
You mean in programs of the European Commission?
I don't know
In
if
funding?
if you're uniquely funded through the European Union or if you have access to funding.
Yeah. The Horizon 2020 is not the only program, and if you want to know everything about it, you need to ask
I will explain later.
to Professor Revuelta, because you have also LIFE, you have fast track to innovation, you can go into consortia with other people. But you have funding from the European Commission, and there's also private funding. And what the problem that you have in Europe is there's not enough private funding. I will show you some slides at 11 o'clock. Compared to the USA, we are very, very bad. We are lazy, extremely lazy. And the United States is 14 times better than we are in helping scale-ups and startups. So we're not doing a good job, not at all. But programs coming to try to help that, and they're coming from the European Commission. So private investors, let's start with doing this, get a seal of excellence, and then you go to private investors to say, listen, I have already this seal of excellence. It means that I did something good, I did something well, because I've been evaluated by the evaluators of the European Commission. And then you can go to private investors. And private investors, you have business angels. They will give you money up to 300,000 to 500,000. And then, if you're really successful and you start really getting in money and revenue, then you need to go to what we call venture capitalists. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
Okay. And if you go to venture capitalists, of course, then the amount can be 10, 15, 20, 25 million or more. Right? So these are the possibilities that you have in total if you want to fund and scale and grow your company. Does that answer?
This was more in an abstract way. I was more interested in your concrete case, but I'm guessing you have another presentation at 11.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can ask me what you want to know specifically.
How you finance Workero?
Ah.
One question, could you
it?
introduce yourself when you do
Yes.
the questions?
Oh, I'm really sorry. Yes.
No,
Yes,
could
good.
you introduce?
Irina Probe. I'm with the Association of German Public Banks.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
So what we do is managing European funds and dispersing them to final recipients, which are amongst others startups, obviously.
Ah, yeah.
So I'm more interested, obviously, in your experience with how the European funding fits into your overall mix, how you fund.
Okay, good. I'm going to answer part of it now, but stay for the 11 o'clock presentation. But that's exactly what we are talking about. How I did that. First of all, it's my third business. So the earnings from the other ones, I always reinvest in the new companies that I start. And then how I did it, well, partially with this, of course. If I got 50,000 here, so if I tell you that right now we have invested 3 million in it, you know that I had to speak to other people. So it's my company still, but I have small investors who have invested quite some money in it, and who have the potential to invest even far more in it. So what I did was to talk to potential investors, of which I knew that if they would put in now 500,000, if I ask again, when we have a solid path of growth, if I ask them to put in 5 million the second time instead of 500,000, they are able to do it. And that's what I did. That's why we are now at 3 million, and we will be moving on much higher. We are going to do a funding round of, I think, 15 million euros. So if you choose it, that's how I did this. You need to choose a mix. You got public support from the European Commission. It's not only money, it's also, well, the entrepreneurship program and other programs. Of course, you need to put in your own money, because otherwise no one believes in you. And then you go to private investors, where you really need to identify investors that are aligned with what you are doing. I think it makes no sense, and it's a mistake that a lot of startups make. A lot of startups, they say, well, I need money because I want to grow, and they go to anyone who wants to invest, which is a stupid thing to do. I don't do that, because my investors, they know everything about real estate. And what I'm doing here is digital transformation innovation platform in real estate. So I narrowed it down to only people who invest in the sector of innovation in real estate, which makes like 2% of everyone. Discard it. Why? Because these people, they will better understand what you do, and they will be aligned with you in the future. Let's say that in 2 years' time I have a problem. If I have just somebody who put in the money and who said, go ahead, do. Then in 2 years' time, if I have a problem, I cannot ask to this person, I have a problem, can you help me? No, because he doesn't know anything about my business. Whereas in 2 years' time, if I have problems, I have 3 small shareholders who can tell me, okay, we are going to use our network in all those countries. We're going to help you, because after all, it's their money also invested. That's a bit of the total picture of what I did. Okay? Someone else has a question?
Yeah, I have another question.
Yes.
You have involved in us a lot of enthusiasm and motivation in your company. So I would like to ask you, what do you think that will be the vision or the way for someone to help you to grow your company in another market? Imagine that one of us decides that we would like to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
How can they seduce you in order to help you to promote your company and grow in your network through Workero software and everything?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Can you repeat it a bit louder?
Yeah, I imagine you would like to work with Mr. Dirk, okay? What is going to be the next step? What should you do to seduce him in order to collaborate to open new markets, for example? That's the question.
Yeah, but it's a good question, because we are rolling out in a lot of European countries and in Australia. I will not do it myself, so that's a choice that I made. So I'm looking for entrepreneurs working in other countries who can do Workero for me in that country, with a lot of independence, with a lot of freedom. And these people then need to start building up their own network in order to implement Workero, the digital platform, the software, into those companies. It could be Spain, it could be also the other company, right? In some cases, it's going to be difficult, because in some markets, it's very difficult to install digital innovation and transformation. I had a very good example yesterday. I was here at the real estate trust fund, a really big one, with a value of 6 billion. And there were 4 people at the table, and they were not even interested in innovation. They didn't care about startups and scale-ups. So I need young entrepreneurs. That's my vision, and that's if you want to seduce me to work with you, come with a solid plan, understand the business of what I'm doing, and also come with a plan for the funding of creating Workero in your own company, because you will need funds to create that. Is that an answer? Okay, thank you.
What is interesting also is to understand what are the personal skills you are looking for. Because I assume that you're looking for people with initiative, autonomous.
It's
no civil servant.
well, I know a lot of civil servants who work very hard.
Yes.
We know.
Yes,
We know. The mentality, of course, is entrepreneur. Don't come to work for me if you think that you can work from 9 to 5. I'm not interested. And you cannot be an entrepreneur if you work from 9 to 5, by the way. So if you want to create your own future and be master of your own time, then you need to be an independent, right? Second thing, you need to be digital experienced or digital wise. If you're not yet, then start studying it and start transforming yourself. I'm 53 years old, and I've created a magnificent digital platform. I'm 53 years old. There's a lot of things I don't even know. Do you know that I don't have Facebook? I don't have Facebook. There's a lot of things I don't do, but I've been thinking about the software, and I took a wall like this one. I had 14 software engineers who know everything about it. I designed it on the wall, what I wanted the software to do. And now it's working perfect. So I also needed to transform myself into getting more familiar with what is digital transformation. And you guys, you are all young, so you need to know that the future is digital. It's it's digital. Everything will be digital. If you are a digital illiterate, you will be out of a job, out of a decent job, I want to say, out of a decent job in 10 years. You can count on that. That's a bit of skills. It's very important.
Thanks a lot. More questions? Okay, no questions then. Delante.